Hey Sam, should I edit videos for other people or edit videos and grow my own YouTube channel in hopes of one day selling something? Thank you, Academy student Sodi, for the question. This is actually a really good question because it highlights one of the many upsides to video editing, and that's the flexibility that it offers. I'll start with a very quick story from my end. When I started video editing, I had absolutely no idea how to run a successful personal brand. You might be able to relate to this, but for example, I used to look at Twitch streamers that I used to watch and I used to think, wow, they're so lucky. They're just a product of the times and they just cashed in on autism, right? But knowing what I know now, after working closely with multiple massive 7-figure personal brands, I've come to learn how smart and savage some of these people are, who I used to think just got lucky. Because I'm seeing things through a new lens now. I know what it takes to garner attention in the attention economy, and luck has very little to do with it. I'll give you another example. People might look at someone like Jack Hopkins and think, oh wow, he got so lucky to run into someone like Hamza in Thailand who helped him launch his personal brand. This is absolute bollocks, because think about it, right? Look how many people Hamza runs into in his day-to-day life. It's not like he's some sort of shut-in or is some sort of hyper celebrity who locks himself in a high-rise tower for no one to ever meet him, right? Hamza's meeting new people all the time, and most of these guys, the absolute massive majority, aren't running a hyper successful personal brand like Jack Hopkins does after meeting Hamza. So how was Jack able to do it? It's because he was ready. And sure, he might have got a little kickstart making his first 1 or 2 videos with Hamza, but he had what it takes, is what I'm saying, okay? You don't accidentally fall into an amazing personal brand. It's actually insanely difficult. And this is one of the major worldview shifts which I experienced working as a video editor, because I got to work alongside a lot of these people, and I've come to learn that actually, it's way less to do with luck. It's actually insanely smart business moves. Even if their personal brand is being a retard on a Twitch stream, what video editing did is essentially allow me to be an apprentice to some of the biggest 7-figure, 8-figure influencers that you probably watch today. While working alongside them, I got to learn directly from them, but also indirectly. And guess what? Even after that, right, when I came to launch my own personal brand, I still made a bunch of insanely costly mistakes. Even after having the advantage of working with a bunch of guys who already run their own successful personal brands, right? So that should give you a pretty good idea of how hard it actually is to run your own personal brand. With that said, to answer your question, Sodi, I would say do both, okay? When I was deep in the video editing trenches, I still made my own passion projects on the side from time to time. And I did that because it actually allowed me to keep my creative flame alight for longer. What I found is we all have a certain amount of bandwidth for different things throughout our day, okay? So you might have a really pressing task of getting a video out in the next 3 days, right? You'll find while you're working on that video that perhaps after 4 hours or 6 hours, you've kind of had enough of it. You don't really have much more in the tank to work on in terms of this project. So that's when you switch to a different project. Maybe you start writing a few emails. Now you have more bandwidth for a different task. So you have total bandwidth for the day, and then total bandwidth for each individual tasks that you can possibly do. I find that for me, I start to get bored after about 5 hours of working on the same project during my day. So unless it's a deadline, I'll switch up my tasks and I'll move on to a different task, which I have a lot more bandwidth for, and I'm a bit more inspired to work on. You could apply this to your video editing today. So you might have client work, you do that for 5 hours, 6 hours, and then you're like, okay, I've had enough today. I'm gonna work on something which I'm personally really passionate about, and that might be your own YouTube video, your own Twitter account, whatever it may be. Having things like that on the side of your main work, I have found really allows me to avoid burnout for a much longer period of time. And also having personal passion projects on the side gives you very valuable experience for when you're ready to launchpad into your own personal brand. And being a video editor gives you an unfair advantage when you are ready to launch your own personal brand, trust me. I learned so much from the clients that I was working with while earning money at the same time. That is insanely OP. Most people spend thousands upon thousands upon thousands of dollars on mentorship and don't get as direct access to these entrepreneurs as I would if I was just editing their YouTube videos and making money doing it at the same time. So my suggestion to you boys, if you're not already video editing, start today. It's an incredible pathway to financial location and creative freedom. And if you are video editing and you're thinking, should I do my own personal projects or should I do client work? Do both. 80% of your effort should be on your client work because quite frankly, most guys who try to launch their own personal brand before being ready will just drown. It's a very vicious attention economy that we're in, and you're not really afforded many mistakes. Most guys who try fail. So if you can learn on the job while making money, that is the best case scenario, and video editing allows you to do that. Once you've achieved your creative freedom, your financial freedom, and your location freedom, and you've done a good bulk of work in the trenches alongside some successful guys who are running their own personal brands, you'll know when you're ready, if you're that way inclined. A lot of you watching this, you might not be that way inclined. Maybe you don't want to be the guy in front of the camera, and that's totally legitimate as well. Let it be known. That is fair, because most guys who make money, good money, they're not actually in front of a camera. The internet has warped your perspective on this though, that's the thing. So bear that in mind as well. That's totally okay if you don't feel like you want to be the front runner on the camera. You can still do absolute fucking bits behind the scenes, making upwards of $12,000, $15,000 a month video editing. And that's exactly what over 500 of my students inside of the Academy of Excellence are doing right now. If you want my further one-to-one help and you want access to the best network of video editors on the internet, click the first link in the description right now. Your lifestyle of freedom awaits. I hope that answers your question, Sodi. Thank you for watching, boys. Take care.